The shelter echoed with growls and rattling metal bars. Volunteers kept their distance from Cody, the most feared K9 ever brought in. A massive German shepherd with scars on his muzzle, rage in his eyes, and a record of attacking every handler who tried to approach. His cage was marked with a bright red warning sign. Do not touch. Extremely aggressive. Every time someone walked by, Cody lunged at the bars, teeth bared, snarling like a storm, ready to break free. People whispered, "He's dangerous. He's hopeless. Put him down." But one morning, something unimaginable happened. A tiny toddler, barely 2 years old, waddled into the shelter unnoticed, her pink dress fluttering as she giggled. Before anyone could stop her, she walked straight toward Cody's cage. Everyone froze. Cody growled. Volunteers screamed. But what happened next left the entire shelter in stunned silence. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious. Where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The metal door screeched open as volunteers stepped cautiously into the back wing of the shelter. The wing reserved for the animals no one else could handle. At the very end of the hallway, behind a reinforced steel cage, lay a name written in thick red marker. Cody, do not approach. Inside, a massive German shepherd paced restlessly, muscles tense, eyes burning with a mixture of fear and fury. Every few seconds, he lunged at the bars, teeth bared, the entire cage rattling from the impact. Even the most experienced handlers refused to go near him. Stay back, one volunteer warned. He's unpredictable. He'll bite without hesitation. But Cody wasn't always this way. Once he was a decorated K9 officer, known for his loyalty and precision until the night everything changed. The night his handler was killed during a raid. Cody had tried to protect him, but instead he watched the only human he trusted fall right beside him. Since then, the world had become a threat. Every sound made him flinch. Every hand reaching toward him made him attack. He wasn't just aggressive. He was broken, and no one believed he could ever be saved. Saturday mornings at the shelter were always noisy. Barking dogs, ringing phones, volunteers rushing from kennel to kennel. No one noticed the front door swing open as a young mother stepped inside holding her toddler's hand. Emma, barely 2 years old, wore a peach-pink dress and tiny shoes that squeaked with every step. While the mother filled out a form at the counter, Emma's eyes wandered. She spotted wagging tails, colorful toys, and rows of curious faces behind cages. Her giggles echoed softly as she toddled farther down the hallway. Emma, stay close, her mother called. But the little girl was already gone. Drawn by a soft metallic clanging, Emma followed the sound until she reached the back wing, the part of the shelter no visitor ever approached. Her tiny footsteps echoed against the concrete floor as she stopped in front of the cage marked in red. Cody, extremely aggressive. Do not touch inside. The huge German shepherd growled low, pacing with stiff legs. Volunteers at the other end of the hallway froze. No, no, no. Someone grab her, one shouted. But Emma didn't scream. She didn't run. She simply stepped closer to the bars and smiled. Cody stopped pacing the moment he sensed movement. His ears shot up, his body stiffened, and a deep growl rumbled from his chest. Volunteers froze in terror as little Emma waddled right up to the cage. Bars, her tiny hands gripping the cold metal. "Emma, no!" her mother screamed, sprinting down the hallway, but she was too far. Cody lunged. The cage slammed forward. Every volunteer gasped and braced for the worst, but Emma didn't flinch. Instead, she giggled. Cody's growl caught in his throat. He blinked, confused. The toddler pressed her hand through the bars, her voice a sweet whisper. "Doggy." The entire shelter turned silent. Cody's snarling faded. His tail, once stiff with aggression, lowered slightly. He leaned in just an inch, sniffing her fingertips with a trembling breath. "Don't move her," a worker whispered. "He'll snap." But he didn't. He backed up, sat down, and tilted his head as if trying to remember something long buried. Emma giggled. Again, pressing both palms to the bars. Cody stepped forward, slower this time, then gently touched his nose to her hand. A collective gasp filled the room. The same dog who attacked every handler. The canine no one could rehabilitate had just allowed a toddler to touch him. And in that impossible, breathtaking moment, everyone realized something extraordinary. This wasn't aggression. This was a heart, finally remembering how to trust. From that day forward, Emma's mother could barely keep her away from the shelter. Every morning, the little girl insisted on visiting her doggy, dragging her stuffed bunny behind her as she toddled toward Cody's cage. Volunteers watched nervously, but something miraculous kept happening. Cody never growled at her. Instead, the once ferocious K9 would sit calmly as Emma approached, his ears relaxed, his eyes softening the moment he heard her tiny footsteps. She would press her hands to the bars. Cody would lean in, resting his massive head against the cold metal as if soaking in her warmth. "Unbelievable," one volunteer whispered. "He won't even let us refill his water bowl." Over the next few days, Cody began to change. His pacing slowed. His snarling stopped. He started eating again, but only when Emma was nearby. When she sat in front of his cage, humming her little tune, Cody would stretch out on the floor, tail thumping gently. One afternoon, Emma dropped her stuffed bunny through the bars. Volunteers panicked. Cody never allowed anything near him. But instead of attacking, the massive dog sniffed the toy, picked it up carefully in his mouth, and pushed it back toward her. The shelter staff stared, stunned. The aggressive dog wasn't just tolerating her. He was bonding with her. Something inside Cody had woken up again. A forgotten instinct not to fight, but to protect. As Cody's transformation continued, the shelter director decided to bring in Dr. Reynolds, a behavior specialist who had worked with traumatized kinds for over 20 years. The moment he saw Emma and Cody interacting, he froze. This shouldn't be possible," he murmured. He sat down with Emma's mother and the staff, his voice soft but heavy. "Cody isn't aggressive by nature. He's grieving." The room fell silent. Dr. Reynolds pulled out a warm folder. Cody's old police file. Photos showed him standing proudly beside his handler, Officer Blake Turner, a young father with a wide smile. Cody lost him during a raid. The specialist explained. He tried to protect Blake but couldn't. After that, he shut down anyone who approached. Felt like a threat. Emma's mother frowned. "But why, Emma? Why is she the only one he trusts?" Dr. Reynolds turned to the toddler, now sitting cross-legged in front of the cage, while Cody watched her like a guardian. Blake had a daughter, he said quietly. She was the same age as Emma when he died. The air grew still. It's not aggression, Dr. Reynolds whispered. It's memory, instinct, love. Emma reminds Cody of the child he used to protect. For the first time, everyone understood. Cody wasn't a monster. He wasn't dangerous. He was heartbroken. And Emma's presence wasn't just healing him. It was giving him a reason to live again. The shelter had never felt so quiet or so full of hope. 4 days, Emma continued visiting Cody, her tiny hands pressed to the bars while the once feared K9 lay peacefully at her feet. Volunteers who once avoided his cage now watched with softened eyes. Even the dogs in neighboring kennels seemed calmer when Emma was around. One morning, as Emma placed her stuffed bunny at the edge of Cody's cage, the director approached her mother. There's something we need to ask, he said gently. Would your family consider adopting him? Emma's mother gasped. Adopt Cody. But before she could finish, Cody let out a soft whine, pressing his nose to Emma's fingers. The little girl giggled, rubbing his muzzle through the bars. The director smiled. He's chosen her, and honestly, she saved him. Paperwork was signed that afternoon, and for the first time in months, Cody stepped out of his cage. Willingly. Only because Emma held the leash. His tail wagged slowly as if rediscovering happiness one beat at a time. When they reached home, Cody explored carefully, finally settling beside Emma as she napped on the living room floor. He curled his body around her like a shield, eyes half closed, but alert. A guardian reborn. The narrator's voice faded in. Love doesn't always come from strength. Sometimes it comes from the smallest hands. And from that day on, no one called Cody aggressive again.